Namaste, my name is Janapati Das. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita class. We will be reading through the verses of chapter 2. So I'd like to take this opportunity to offer my respects to you. And I'd like to offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, Jagadguru Siddhaswarapananda Paramahamsa Srila Prabhupada, and pray for his mercy upon me. I would also like to offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual grandfather, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And as the spiritual master says, the spiritual grandfather is often more merciful to and more lenient to the fallen souls. So I take shelter of my spiritual grandfather also for his mercy upon me. And we will start with a little bit of chanting, and we'll get into the reading of the second chapter. Namo Siddhaya Swarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Kola Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prasthaya Te Haribo, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes. With the torch of knowledge, I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Welcome again. So today we have last time finished up the purports of chapter 1 and saw the story of how it's unfolding with Arjuna having a dilemma about fighting and laying out a bunch of different rules and regulations of Vedic principles, different kinds of education in the Vedic system to help guide society towards a more spiritual society. But it was all having to do with materialistic aspects, even as much as it helps guide society. And we're going to see how Krishna sort of peels this onion of bhakti yoga to Arjuna. Maybe an onion is not the best way, but like an orange or something, or a flower, even better. Unfolds the flower. The Bhagavad Gita is the most wonderful flower, and it always unfolds and has the wonderful fragrance of freshness and wisdom and insight. So we are just going to read through the verses. And chapter 2 is entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized. So it is, we have the word content of the Gita, the basic touching point of the summary of the Bhagavad Gita in one chapter, and then it goes on and explains it in greater detail throughout the thing. So starting, and we will just skip the Sanskrit for now. We'll go back into the Sanskrit. I don't remember. Did I actually start with Sanskrit? It would be kind of neat to read the whole thing in Sanskrit, but I don't know. I'd probably be tripping over it and whatnot. But we'll just go through the English translations of the verses. Text 1. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion and very sorrowful, his eyes brimming with tear, Madhusadana Krishna spoke the following words. Text 2. The Supreme Person, Bhagavan, said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the progressive values of life. They do not lead to higher planets, but to infamy. So as a fellow Kshatriya, he's starting to kind of goad him a little bit. But he's not acting quite as the spiritual master yet, until Arjuna surrenders. O son of Prita, this is text 3, do not yield to this degrading impotence. He's basically calling him a eunuch, or someone who's been castrated, right? It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Text 4, Arjuna said, O killer of Madhu, Krishna, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? Text 5, it is better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though they are voracious, they are nonetheless superiors. If they are killed, our spoils will be tainted with blood. So he's still making these arguments, right? Text 6, now, nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. The sons of Dhritarashtra, whom we killed, whom if we killed, we should not care to live, are now standing before us on this battlefield. Text 7, now I'm confused about my duty and lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me clearly what is best for you. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So now he's surrendering the process. He's confused and he's surrendering. I'm surrendering to you. Not completely yet, but he will eventually. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to destroy it, even if I win an unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemy, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. So it's kind of like, I'm surrendered to you, but I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to fight. So, a descendant of Bharat, O descendant of Bharat. So this is Sanjaya telling Dhritarashtra. At that time, Krishna, smiling, he's very smiling because he's very compassionate, in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Text 11. The blessed Lord said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. So Arjuna has surrendered his will to Krishna to a degree enough for Krishna to basically take on the role of a spiritual master, which is what he's doing now. And we'll get more into that as we read the purports. Text 12. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So now he's getting into it, right? Text 13. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Text 14. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Text 15. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Text 16. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent there is no endurance, and of the existent there is no cessation. The seers have concluded by studying the nature of both. Text 17. Know that which pervades the entire body is indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable soul. Text 18. Only the material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is subject to destruction. Therefore fight, O descendant of Bharat. Text 19. He who thinks that the living entity is the slayer, or that he is slain, does not understand. One who is in knowledge knows that the self slays not, nor is slain. Text 20. For the soul there is never birth nor death, nor having once been does he ever cease to be. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Text 21. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, unborn, eternal, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Text 22. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, similarly the soul accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Text 23. The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor can he be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Text 24. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, all-pervading, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Text 25. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable, and unchangeable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Text 26. If, however, you think that the soul is perpetually born and always dies, still you have no reason to lament, O mighty armed. Text 27. For one who has taken his birth, death is certain, and for one who is dead, birth is certain. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. 28. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when they are annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Text 29. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Text 30. O descendant of Bharat, he who dwells in the body is eternal and can never be slain. Therefore you need not grieve for any creature. Text 31. Considering your specific duty as a kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. So there's a little bit of foreshadowing going on here. He's explaining things about the soul and whatnot, but he is foreshadowing about some things he's going to go into later on. Well, text 32, O Partha, happy are the kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. I think it's pretty amazing because he's actually kind of unloading some of the philosophy on here, but not, he's still kind of like putting it in the perspective, because Arjuna was in this mindset of like materialistic reasonings of rules and regulations, and Krishna starts to kind of go a little deeper, but he still connects it a little bit to the Kshatriya code of fighting and going to heavenly planets still. But as he's sort of bringing him into this more and more into the Bhagavad Gita, it will start, it's that unveiling of the flower, more and more you start to realize things and perspectives of things and where things are supposed to sit in relationship to your relationship to Krishna. Text 33, if however you do not fight this religious war, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. Text 34, people will always speak of your infamy, and for one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. For Kshatriyas it definitely was. 35, the great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you a coward. Text 36, your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? Text 37, O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore get up and fight with determination. Text 38, do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by doing so you shall never incur sin. So he's sort of setting up for the idea of karma yoga, which he will explain later in these chapters here. Text 39, thus far I've declared to you the analytical knowledge of Sankhya philosophy. Now listen to the knowledge of yoga, whereby one's works without fruitive results. O son of Prita, when you act by such intelligence, you can free yourself from the bondage of works, or the karmic reactions, right? Text 40. In this endeavor there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect you from the most dangerous types of fear. So more foreshadowing here about bhakti yoga and service in karma yoga. Those, text 41, those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. Text 42, 43, men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas. So he's basically, he is kind of ribbing him again about, you've been going on about these flowery rules and regulations, and that means you're kind of a man of small knowledge. Really, you don't see the bigger picture. Which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, result in good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there's nothing more than this. Text 44. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination of devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Text 45, the Vedas mainly deal with the subject of the three modes of material nature. Rise above these modes of Arjuna. So he's talking more about material energy, which we will also be more chapters on here. Be transcendental to all of them, be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Text 46, all purposes that are served by the small pond can at once be served by the great reservoirs of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. More foreshadowing. 47, you have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of actions. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Text 48, be steadfast in yoga, O Arjuna. Perform your duty and abandon all attachment to success or failure. Such evenness of mind is called yoga. Text 49, O Dhananjaya, rid yourself of all fruitive activities by devotional service and surrender fully to that consciousness. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. I basically call them my Scrooge. Text 50, a man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad actions even in this life. Therefore strive for yoga, O Arjuna, which is the art of all work. Text 51, the wise engaged in devotional service take refuge in the Lord and free themselves from the cycle of birth and death by renouncing the fruits of action in the material world. In this way, they can attain that state beyond miseries. So this is wonderful, this is unveiling. And he's basically, Arjuna wants to go off and be a yogi and be a renunciate. And so Krishna is going to explain what it really means to be a renunciate. So he's kind of giving a little summary here. Text 52, when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, that's the material energy, right? You shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Text 53, when your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Text 54, Arjuna said, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? So here Arjuna is starting to, it's just beautiful. It's like the thing is put, Arjuna is blathered on about all the reasons why he thinks things are good. He's, Krishna kind of gives him a little bit of some things, and Arjuna comes back with more questions. This is how you learn spiritual knowledge. The Blessed Lord said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desire which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Text 56. One who is not disturbed in spite of the threefold miseries, who is not elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called the sage of steady mind. Text 57. He who is without attachment, who does not rejoice when he obtains good, nor laments when he obtains evil, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. Text 58. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense object, as the tortoise draws his limbs within the shell, is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge. The embodied soul, that's 59. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains, but ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Whoa, this is really exciting. Text 60. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Text 61. One who restrains his senses and fixes his consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence. Text 62. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from this attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. Text 63. And from anger delusion arises, and from delusion bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Text 64. One who can control his senses by practicing the regulated principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord and thus become free from all attachment and aversion. Text 65. For one who is so situated in the divine consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such a happy state, one's intelligence soon becomes steady. Text 66. One who is not in the transcendental consciousness can have neither a controlled mind nor steady intelligence, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? True. Text 67. As the boat on the water is swept away by a strong wind, even one of the senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Text 68. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. Text 69. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening of all beings is night for the introspective sage. Text 70. A man who is not disturbed by the incessant flows of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled, but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Text 71. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. Text 72. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. Being so situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 2. Pretty amazing. I mean, just reading through it all the way through. I mean, I've given classes on this chapter 2 so many times, and it just continuously baffles me and amazes how wonderful and, is the content of the Gita summarized. It really talks about it. There's so much going on there. So it touches on the modes of material nature, the nature of the living entity, and what the purpose of the living entity is supposed to be doing. It talks about the ideas of not focusing your mind on sense desires, of what happens when you have focused too much on sense gratification in your life. And we'll get into that. We'll read the purports. Next time we'll start on the beginning of chapter 2, reading the purports and getting deeper into this wonderful Bhagavad Gita. So thank you very much. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Haribol.